Hi, thought I'd do a little video today. Um, I read about on Yahoo News Chris Watts and he pled guilty to all the murders of his wife and two daughters, and that the family of Shanann, his wife, they and the well, they don't want the death sentence for him. I found that interesting that they don't want to say too much about this, but what it makes me wonder about is how these things happen, and I'm not even sure in the title I'm going to put Chris Watts. I don't know. I might get more views that way, but there's a family out there that lost some people, and my heart goes out to them. Going through the things that I've gone through with so many of my own patterns, the people I've been with, and we're all running on these patterns, almost software, computer programs. It does make me wonder about, supposedly there's 4% of people who are born psychopaths or sociopaths. Psychopaths, I think, are the ones who are born with it. Sociopaths are simply made by their environment, especially when they're very young, that there is actually something wrong with their brain. And when these things happen, like with Chris Watts, you wonder, is there something wrong with his brain? Is he a psychopath, or what exactly happened there? And why didn't anybody ever catch it? Doing the study that I've done and on all the personality disorders and the and how people get together, and the dynamics with that. When I worked for the courts many, many years ago, what I observed as a court clerk is that the truth of the matter is most men commit most of the violent crimes. And again, I'll bring up this book, if you can see it. It is such a good read because, it just explained a lot of things. I never quite understood that. And there really is, in our species, a difference between men and women. And it probably goes back, just in the design of our species, we're very different from all the other animals on this planet. And, it goes back to the hunter-gatherer days, maybe. Men, and I do think DNA is like software. So, for instance, in my family, my grandmother married a wealthy real estate man who taught her all about real estate. And, she did very well in her life financially because of him. He passed away, but he taught her a lot. And, it's like it came right down the DNA of our family. I've been in real estate, and now, well, not all my daughters and my niece have all done very, very well in real estate. So there's something that is transferred to DNA, just like a software program, I think, somewhere in that DNA. And, in the hunter-gatherer days, it wasn't the women who were the hunters. They were busy having babies, nurturing those. Children take a lot of focus, and we're designed to nurse them. And we're more empathetic. So we can tune into what they're feeling, because especially when they're small, you can't even understand what they're saying. So you have to get to know that emotional language. men went out and hunt. They went out and killed. And, in the beginning, in the hunter-gatherer societies, it was the animal, as us against the animals. But as we grew in civilization and had farms and grains became a great part of our diet, about 5,000 years ago, supposedly. I don't know. I think agriculture came into the picture. And this is also in his book here, and I think it's true. It's almost like, there wasn't the rush of the hunt. And it's still ingrained. The male has more testosterone. That is an aggressive hormone. So, and I think that's another thing they've found with psychopathic men and women. It does occur that they have more testosterone. So, it's just something to think about. And I think in our species, we were made so differently. The female in a lot of other animals is just as fierce as the male. Watch out. But not so in our species. So we really were designed differently. And, it's not, it must serve a purpose. And I think with us, there's a reason we're called human. Human, actually, if you look on the internet, you'll find that it's actually a Sanskrit word, and it actually, I think, is even older than that. And man is mind. So we have a God mind. We have the ability to realize God. And that's, where we're going. The animals, they are carriers of God's love, especially when we teach them love purely. But we're on a different journey, our species, and I guess when I see things like, it just struck me this morning when I read that, you wonder what happens there, and that I really think it's true. We're sunk if the male of our species doesn't develop the feminine side of himself, because that hunter side can really get out of hand. So, we really want to raise our sons to develop that part of themselves. And I guess that's what I thought about today. So I thought I'd do a short video of it. And, I do a lot of reading because I try to figure these things out for myself and my family and for others. And, they're just truths. And I know it's not popular. There's not supposed to be any differences between male and females. But in our species, there is. And everybody within themselves, we have a left and right hemisphere. The left is more the masculine, the right is more the feminine. We need to develop those things in ourselves. And boy, I'll tell you, especially with the men, if that is not developed, it can be very, very dangerous. They're very powerful. They're stronger. That might makes right. It's dangerous. So, it'd be interesting. I don't want to go too much into the Chris Watts thing, but what was his childhood like? How was he raised? I don't know. It'd be interesting to study that. Is he just psychopathic? Maybe he was born different. Did he never understand consequences for anything? So it just makes me wonder, and it just seems that the masculine, the male of our species can compartmentalize these things better, and put them away, because they were hunters once, and they had to do that. It was part of our survival. And again, to the women out there, We have so much to learn about our potential still. It's 50 years from now, things will be so different, and I'm hoping, oh well, it will have to be. I just don't think we're going to be here. Men and women will be so much more equal and sharing in society and making society. Kind of losing my thought here on this, but I did want to share it because it made me think about it today. That they're really, for all of us to grow, the masculine has really got to grow in its balance too, or we're sunk. This might makes right. It just doesn't work with us, and that's where I think we're going, is when we have a balance in all in our societies where that's not occurring anymore, and we're all very balanced, men and women. So, all right. Well, again, I want to share that book because if you read it, it may explain some things to you, and yeah. Uh, because I read a lot of these books on narcissism, and a lot of these people were simply not taught empathy or compassion or consequences. And some of them, there is, I guess, trauma. But I think for true narcissism, they're not taught those things. And you put that in a male body, just awful things might happen. So those are my thoughts today. And you women out there, when you meet somebody, I know things are supposed to be, we are equal. We are equal in human rights. We should be. And women are still working on that one. And but when you meet a man, you're not the same. Has nothing to do with equality. You're not the same. Make sure he's protective of you. Make sure he cares about what you feel and what you think. And he respects you. Because if he doesn't, you're in trouble. You're in danger. And that's, I guess, what I have to share. And take your time. Take your time. If he is an imposter, a lot of these narcissistic personalities are actors. He will show his true colors, I think, within a year. So just slow down. Take your time. I guess that's all I have to share today. And I'm so happy that there's more and more women out there getting their educations and finding economical freedom. Hey, there's nothing better. And, all right. Bye.